Within a single second, the world changes. Not because humanity vanished, but because everything familiar did. This is the story of the first 24 hours. After a nuclear weapon detonates. Facts, not fiction. Reality, not Hollywood. Most people imagine a nuclear strike as the end of everything. A fiery apocalypse, a world reduced to ash. But for millions who survived the initial blast, that's not the story. The true danger is what comes after the explosion. What happens in the first 24 hours is not random, it's predictable, documented, and in most scenarios, whether a society collapses or rebuilds depends on the decisions made in this first day. So, let's walk through it. Minute by minute, hour by hour. A documentary-style breakdown of the most dangerous day in human history. The explosion begins with a fireball hotter than the surface of the sun. Within milliseconds, it vaporizes everything it touches. Buildings, cars, entire neighborhoods, transforming them into radioactive dust. The shockwave follows. A pressure wall strong enough to rip steel from concrete, throw cars across intersections, and collapse skyscrapers. But beyond that deadly radius, millions survive. Not unharmed, not unshaken, but alive, confused, terrified, and unaware that the most lethal threat hasn't even arrived. The world watches the cloud rise, not knowing that everything falling from it carries death. The blast creates an electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, an invisible surge that disables electronics across miles. Cell towers fry. Power grids collapse. Digital traffic systems freeze. Your phone becomes a dead object. The internet goes dark. GPS fails. There is no connection to the outside world. No news, no guidance, no reassurance. Humans fear the unknown more than anything. In the first hour, panic spreads faster than radiation. No one knows if more strikes are coming. No one knows where is safe. This silence, this sudden disconnection, may be the most terrifying moment of the entire day. About an hour after detonation, the first fallout begins. It looks like ash. It feels like powder. But it is radioactive, contaminated dust made of vaporized buildings, soil, and human material. Fallout doesn't fall evenly. It follows the wind. It concentrates in valleys, absorbs into clothing, settles into hair, collects on food. In the first 3 hours, radiation levels are highest. Anyone exposed outside, breathing, walking, driving, absorbs doses that can kill within days. Scientists estimate that for every person killed by the initial blast, several more will suffer lethal exposure because they didn't know what fallout looked like. Survival now depends on one decision: where you shelter. Radiation weakens with distance and shielding, so the safest places are deep, thick, and underground. The difference between these two choices can decide who lives. Subways, storm cellars, interior stairwells, concrete structures, anything with thick mass. A well-chosen shelter can reduce radiation exposure by about 90% or more. But fear leads many to make the worst mistake: to flee. Those who run through heavy fallout, those who drive without knowing wind patterns, those who panic and leave shelter for loved ones, they're the most at risk. The first night after a nuclear detonation is not loud, it's silent. A silence so unnatural it feels heavy. No cars, no aircraft, no hum of electricity. With hospitals crippled and communication networks collapsed, there is no emergency response. People with injuries wait in darkness, hoping daylight brings help. Food and water become emotional lifelines. Every bottle is precious, every bite meaningful. As the night deepens, people whisper, "Is this the only bomb? Is this the beginning of something bigger?" And in that moment, fear becomes a quiet companion, sitting beside every survivor. By now, radiation levels are dropping faster than most people realize. The worst danger is passing, but the psychological toll is only beginning. The world beyond your shelter hasn't vanished. It's just frozen. Infrastructure, offline. Governments, scrambling. News agencies, silent or destroyed. In most historical simulations, governments spend these hours racing to determine, was this a single strike? Was it multiple? Is more coming? These questions decide national responses and shape the next week of global history. At 18 hours, radiation has dropped to a fraction of its peak. At 24 hours, it's fallen by more than 80%. Many who survived the blast, many who found shelter early, now have a chance. What they find is a world paused, broken in places, silent everywhere, and forever changed. The first day of nuclear war does not end civilization, but it ends normal life. The next chapter will bring food shortages, medical crises, mass displacement, and decisions that will shape the fate of nations. You've seen the first 24 hours, the most violent, chaotic, and uncertain day a society can face. But this is only part one, because the real struggle begins after the first day. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay prepared, and take care of one another.